Oh, we're live now.
There you go.
It usually takes a minute. I swear it does.
Yeah.
Let me get my.
The spirit of Detroit.
YouTube. Let me get a YouTube from you guys, man. 1,
YouTube.
2, 3.
YouTube.
Y'all something else, man. I love the energy here. It's amazing. We got a great show for y'all today. Who's ever tuning in, who's ever a little early. We were a little late, but we are getting in here as promised. I'm your host, Avery Giovanni. This is Spirit of Detroit podcast. We got a special show. I'm here with the one, the only analytics den, the guy who breaks this down to a science. It's not just a binary game, but sometimes it is, and that's where his expertise lies. We got two guests from a very good podcast, a very good show, man. The UK, you guys are great. Now I've watched a couple. I remember I watched something. I agree with something. I had to run. I was like, okay, these guys got some stuff. So I want all y'all to introduce yourselves, man. Plug your channels, plug your stuff. This is gonna be a great show, man. We got a great show, worldwide show right here. Okay, plug your city and then plug your country, whatever. This is a worldwide show.
So I'm the analytics den. I'm from the Cascades regions, and I'm kind of around the Boise area. I just do things like my name suggests. I do analytics, and I guess that's basically how you can sum up my channel.
All right. Ryan?
Yep. My name's Ryan. I'm from the north of England. I'm the newest member to join the Raw Lions UK podcast. I'm from a small city up north, like I say, but I love Detroit just as much as possibly anyone from the US.
Wow. Okay. What's going on, Zia? What's going on, Steve?
Yeah, so I'm Steve from Raw the Lions. I live a bit further north, so I'm up in Edinburgh in Scotland.
Yeah.
I've been a Lions fan from a long time, and yeah, we're just absolutely delighted to be on the show. We've got a podcast that's been going just over a year. We're like racking up the views now on YouTube. We get a lot of listeners, and we've started to get loads of listeners from the States. So that's really cool for us. It all feels a bit like surreal for us getting listeners from the States.
Yeah. It's definitely something else. Now I gotta ask all you guys a question, man. You analytics, Ryan, Steve. Obviously I'm Avery Giovanni from Detroit. I got to get an origin story, man. I was telling my girlfriend the other day. She's like, why are you getting mad they lose? I'm like, I'm a Lions fan. She's like, what? You can like other teams. I was like, huh? Why do I like Detroit? Why did I come here? And I remember thinking back. The person who got me into this particular fandom was, I want to say, it was Ndamukong Suh. I was excited when Matthew was coming up. Yeah, I was excited. But Ndamukong Suh's, that was the serious one right there. That was and we developed. So tell me how y'all developed and how became like real gung ho Lions fans.
So I became a Lions fan around 2010, 2011. I was super young at the time, and the way that it got me into it was I was playing with my cousin, and he's a Jets fan, but he wanted to choose like a random team for us to do. And so we just kind of like randomly chiseled. We just went super fast on the little Wii sticks. And the first team we chose was the Detroit Lions. And I just dominated with Calvin Johnson and Jerome Felton, the fullback. Love that guy. And then the next day I actually ended up watching Calvin just destroy Dallas. No, it wasn't Dallas, it was Chicago in like 2011. And ever since they've been my favorite team.
Yeah. Yeah. Ryan, what about you?
I'm also the same kind of time, so roughly coming up to 10, 11 years now as a Detroit fan. So I started quite young. It was kind of hard to pick an NFL team at the UK at that time because we only had like one game. We had Mike Carlson and Nat Coombs on a Sunday night on Channel 4. They'd broadcast one random game live, and I'd just stay up and I'd watch it. And the first thing that
Is he
attracted
breaking
me
up?
to the Lions. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
good.
I love the Lions.
What is it?
I love nasty defense. Like say Sue, Stephen Tulloch, Cliff Averill. We had Vandenbosch,
Yeah.
like Ia
Manchester name in
Digbo. Like
2014.
I just loved all that, like that nasty defense. They got flags, but they got to the quarterback. And like say the blue, the silver, the famous historic colours, like I just instantly aligned to them. And it was the time that Stafford, like say, was just taking off. Calvin was like coming to, I'd say, maybe his prime. Things were just starting to possibly look up for Detroit. So I thought, I'm going to pick these. I'm going to see how these things roll. And like I say, I've just been hooked ever since there. I consider myself as a realist. Like I say, I can be pessimist, but I try to look on the upside too. But no, I've just loved it. I've not managed to get out for a game yet, but I managed to watch every game. I'll stay up every night of the week, like I say, and I just joined this podcast because I just met some people in the UK that love the Lions fans. There's not many of us here. So when I found some, I thought I'm going to click to them. Like I say, I've enjoyed writing articles, doing pods, and we've even got some like big guests on. We've managed to speak to some players in the last few months. So it's just really taken off and opened my eyes.
Good stuff. Yeah. So I'm a bit older than Ryan, so I started watching the Lions back in the Barry Sanders era. Like in those days, they only had NFL on free to air, and like as Ryan said, one game a week. So I used to watch Barry, and that was when like running backs, the Walter Payton, Eric Dickerson. It was all about the running back. So I remember watching Barry in the Silverdome just carving up someone, and I was like, I'm going with these guys. And then the NFL went onto like pay-per-view. So I didn't watch it for maybe like 7 or 8 years. Right. And then when I started watching again, it was kind of the start. We just had the 0-16 season. And then like the kind of Caldwell era, and that just really got me like back into it. And also like as you can tell probably from behind me, I'm like a massive hip hop fan. So yeah. I've always been really kind of like conscious of Detroit. I mean, over here, like Detroit hip hop's massive. We were listening to Marshall before he'd even dropped an album when he was like back on Raucous in those days. So we all knew about Detroit, some fantastic producers. We know about like, the musical history going back to like Motown. So it's a very special city, and we absolutely love it. And then when this is like an amazing coincidence, but me and my wife were on holiday in Scotland, and we bumped into these like American couple. Like shout out to my boy Eric Hiroki in Saranac, Michigan, and he's a massive Lions fan. So we got really friendly with them, and a couple of years ago they invited me over to Michigan. So he took me to a game, took me to Ford Field. Actually, unbelievably, I've seen the Lions in Ford Field beat the Packers in the Patricia era, and not many people can see that.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So we got some good origin stories here, man. Playing a game to seeing a game on pay-per-view to just loving the nasty defense, and then me just like I was telling my girlfriend, it's like location, I think. And then I had to think back. It was the Sioux, it was the attitude, the Louis Delmas, and everything kind of got me involved because I was sparingly. I liked football sparingly. I would watch Thanksgiving and stuff like that, but I was not watching football in 8th grade. Key to my age right there. But when we got Stafford, I started 9th grade. So it's I don't know. I just love hearing how people stay fans and become fans because we the most patient people in the world. I think us and Browns fans are probably the most patient people in the world. And speaking of patience, man, I really got to say shout out to y'all all for being in the chat. I see the numbers flipping, but shout out to all y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for your subscription. Thank you for your time. Of course, they came from Luke G. Channel. I see that. So we got to get into the meat. We got to get into the. That's what people are waiting for, man. We got to get into the game. What we saw yesterday. Don't be. I don't want to disrespect y'all, but you UK guys, I want to ask y'all about the game. Analytics. I'm gonna start with you. What'd you see yesterday from Detroit Lions?
So I would say this was easily our best preseason game. I'm going to start with that one. First, Steelers was a bit rough. Buffalo was more of a 50-50 game. So, but it was easily our best game. I would also say Tim Boyle finally wasn't 2-yard Boyle. He averaged like 5.9 yards per throw. He was actually looking poised and way better in the pocket. He looked like the Tim Boyle from Green Bay that everyone was saying was so amazing. And so that was a nice positive. And then I saw some good. We didn't see just Tom Kennedy be good. We saw Quintus Cephas be good. We saw Dedrick Mills be good. But I would think probably the person that really stood out to me mostly in the preseason game was Logan Stenberg. I thought he looked fantastic and easily like way different than like preseason week 1 Stenberg. He really accomplished well. I thought the defense had pressure. Kevin Strong had himself a great game, by the way. He might have been our defensive player of the game. But
yeah, he got a roster spot. He looked like he got some swag. Yeah. I've been seeing his mic'd up kind of like series on the One Pride thing, the inside the den. He's got some swag. But I didn't mean you cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But the big reason why I say Kevin Strong is Kevin Strong could have had 2 straight sacks in a row if he just didn't sadly wrap enough right on. I think it was Sam Ellinger. And so that's a good game. He had 2 tackles for loss. That's a dominant game for like quarter of play.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice to see. And honestly, our run defense was good till like the 4th quarter. So I was impressed with our team.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree.
Is the Eagle for a 6th rounder? Is that news? Is that real?
Yeah,
that's real.
A conditional 6th rounder, yeah. And they cut Nick Mullins to make room, so it's interesting.
Wow, I'm just hearing the news. I haven't looked at my phone. I haven't done nothing for real all day. Okay, my man Ryan, man.
No, I agree. Like I said, Kevin
I know you
Strong,
like the nasty. You said what?
Yeah, Kevin Strong locked up his roster spot last night. That's no doubt. He's one of the best players on that line throughout the entirety of preseason. Like you say, he's strong. He's pretty nimble. Like say for a big guy, he doesn't look that athletic, but he sheds blocks pretty well. So I think he's someone that's going to add a bit of juice to this line. So I appreciate that. Derek Barnes, like he was great when he blew up that screenplay. Like his agility side to side, and then like his closing speed is ridiculous. I think he is going to make himself a starter pretty quickly at that inside linebacker spot. So I've got a lot of time for him. David Bluff, like he's looked pretty composed in the pocket. He's got a nice touch. He hasn't done too bad. Like he didn't look off the defender like the interception was poor, but I'd say he is like confirmed probably as the backup quarterback. I feel confident here that he's the number 2. I like the look, like say Dedrick Mills coming out of the backfield, like good hands, made a few clean receptions, wrapped up some yards. So I appreciate that. Oh, I've got a cat on my lap. I'll just carry on. No, like I think, like say, there was a good general movement. We were moving the chains pretty well. Godwin Igwebike, I think it is, like he had some tough, heavy nose running. The offensive line didn't do him any favors because the line has struggled to gel pretty well in the last few weeks. So they need to iron that out. But no, I'd say for the majority, we were well in that game for the best part 3 quarters if we didn't control it. And they seemed to gas at the end. They let them chug running the ball. And I was pretty unhappy that we didn't get the win in the end. But no, I'd say we finished on a high.
Yeah, I think last night was probably the game where we learned least about how the Lions are going to do this season, but most about the roster. Because really, it was second stringers against second stringers and third stringers. So I think it was all about the kind of, the backup roster, because I think, the starting 11, we kind of know how they're going to be after seeing the first 2 preseason games. And I guess for people like Bashir Perriman, it was kind of like last chance saloon. And you kind of worry that whether he did enough to make his roster spot after, I think, 2 drops and 1 short pass. I thought Blair did well. And Blau just looked knackered in the last sort of 20 minutes of the game, and I think that's why he threw the pick. I think he just lost his focus, but he'd been really good before that, and I think we've seen that he's got better feet than Boyle. Boyle's definitely got an arm, but I just don't trust him under pressure. Under pressure, he looks like he can throw anywhere. And yeah, there were some players that definitely, I think, have stamped their spot on the roster. Yeah, Kevin Strong, Jefferson at running back. And Barnes came on and just looked. I was just like, how the hell did this guy fall to the 4th round?
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm in that camp. Now I'm more about honesty than anything. I was a real staunch. I want 2 people. I want Sewell and I want Micah Parsons. And when that didn't happen, any linebacker that they would have picked, if it wasn't Kumora or Samoa, it wouldn't have been worth my time. But I was real hard on Barnes initially during the pick because I was like, this guy, come on now. And he's phenomenal. He's probably, I'd say he's showed the most. And I think I could say that because it's an eye test, right? And he's just showed, tremendous ability with zone. And you can kind of see he's a Bill Parcells type of linebacker. He's fast, he makes plays, he stays disciplined. And that's kind of the rudiments of Coach Campbell's like understanding and coaching knowledge. That's where he got his coaching from, his time in Dallas. He's a team captain. So I can see certain elements from that Dallas team, like when they picked that linebacker, and Spillman handpicked him. And Coach Campbell just, fell in love with the tape as well as Brad Holmes. So just to see him doing well is beautiful. I gotta address the elephant in the room. Okay, there's an elephant in the room, man. We got to cut Tavai immediately. I didn't see him do anything. I was looking for him to make plays, and he did flash something, I think. But everybody, when you look at the nature of that game, everybody's playing for their lives. You understand? And when everybody's playing for their lives and making contributions on defense, what are you going to do when it's week 6 and you're 0-6? Week 7, you're 0. I've seen him so many times make so many bad plays that the good plays that he made yesterday are not they're not compensating for that. I'm not letting him off the hook for that. So I've seen that. The game yesterday, like you said, to reiterate what you said, it's about the roster. Tim Boyle, thank you for your service. I could say that. It's time to retire, man. This dude is when he got hurt, I was like, oh, he's showing fight, and everybody's showing fight because they either want to start or they want to play or they want to stay on the roster. To me, everybody had that hunger, like I'm fighting for my job, and I like the way the defense played. I like for 3 quarters, but at the end of the day, the most talented player is going to stay on the roster, and Tim Boyle is not quarterback number 2. Not in my mind, not in my heart. I think, just David Blau has got that team. I think the mentality is people trust him in that second unit to make plays and move the ball. That's another thing. David Blau moves the ball consistently, whether it be with his feet, whether it be through the air. He's just a consistent player. But that's all I got.
The biggest joke about that was that when we got Boyle, there were Packers beat writers who were saying that Boyle was going to compete with Jared Goff for the number 1 spot, and they thought that Boyle might edge out Goff. And Boyle can't even beat David Blau to the number 2 spot. So it kind of just shows you like how it's always good to get other people's opinions, because when you're in that bubble of just watching your own team all the time, you think a guy's better than he is, but yeah, Boyle's no threat to Goff.
Yeah. I think that I mean, he's abysmal on offense for the last 2 games, with the exception of this game. And then he got hurt. I'm like, oh man, that's unfortunate. That's the bad luck. Oh man, that's bad luck Boyle right there. You probably play well, you get hurt. Go ahead.
I will say one thing. So I'm not a big fan of Tim Boyle. Anyone on here who's ever watched me knows that I even call him 2-yard Boyle. But in his defense, Tim Boyle's second game, he was facing a starting Pittsburgh team. Like, I think the only player who wasn't playing was T.J. Watt, and then he was having to compete with an exploding Steelers offense. And he had an ankle injury week 1, so this might have been the only game where Boyle was healthy and had a good old line play. And so that might have been the reason. I'm more of a Blau guy. I was actually kind of mad we even got Boyle because I thought Blau proved himself. I think it was 2019 he played, and he deserved to be over him at number 2. And Boyle should have had to prove himself because he's only played preseason games. But Boyle and Blau, I kind of compared their film yesterday. Did anyone notice how much Blau would actually run out of the pocket? Like, a lot of his plays would be play action, and why that's nice. I don't know if that's because he's not tall enough to see over our linemen, or if that's because I don't know. It's just that doesn't also sound like success to me because the guy, not every running quarterback is going to be Lamar Jackson. They're not going to be able to evade the play, and I'm worried that A, will Blau get hurt, or will B, he be predictable? Because I don't think David Blau has like a Josh Allen arm either. Mm-hmm. And so when I watched Tim Boyle week 3, when he got good old line protection and played better than I could have anticipated, it made me wonder maybe that's why. Because I thought Blau was going to start yesterday, but instead it was Boyle. So I'm wondering maybe that's the thing that the coaches are saying is they want that pocket quarterback. And so that maybe they're relying on his old preseason play and the fact that he's a pocket quarterback, and that's why he's our number 2.
Mm-hmm. Anybody got anything to say to that? I'll take up after that person. Anybody got
one thing I just want to say, going back to Tavai, is how can Tavai lose 17 pounds and still look as slow? Like, that is a significant amount of weight, and he still wades through jelly or tar. Like, how does he move so bad when, like, he lost the weight they told him to? He looks more athletic, but he's just got no agility. Like, he is just second to the play all the time, and they just, he is gone for sure. And with Boyle, like you say, I do like to say the injury set him back massively. Bringing in Jordan Ta'amu and then to cut him straight away was strange, because we were led to believe Boyle's injury was worse than it was and we won't see him. So I was surprised he didn't even stay for this game. So it's kind of odd. Like, I think at best he'll try make the practice squad, but if he clears waivers and reverts back. But I'll be surprised if we keep him on the active roster.
Boyle is going to benefit from the new CBA agreement, I think. As you know, or if you don't know, I'm coming out with a video tomorrow about the new CBA agreement and how the Lions can use it to their benefit. Now, if you want to stash Boyle, from my understanding, they could put him. They could say he made the roster, then put him on IR, then activate him at any time. Used to be you can activate a player at any past week 8. I'm pretty sure Blau's earned a number 2 position. But if they wanted to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster, or if they wanted to keep a tight end, I'm going to get to the tight ends in a minute. They wanted to keep somebody they're really interested in, like their 4 running backs. They could put him for IR, say he made the team, and stash him for another team and bring him back next year. I'm going to get more into that in my next video, but I do have my concerns. I do have my concerns with Blau running out of the pocket, and it's not why you think. I love David Blau running out the pocket. You know why? Because it creates more opportunities for receivers to get open. His ability to be an improviser is something that hasn't happened in Detroit since the quarterback Rodney Peete or Ware or Charlie Batch. Stafford, you could say, is an improviser. He's done some things, but he's always looked fat and slow. David Blau could pick up a first down on his own. I'm not definitely concerned about him running. I'm concerned about him getting hurt. Him having to use that ability all the time. If knock on wood, of course, if Jared Goff actually got hurt. But my biggest thing is David Blau's earned a spot. Now, if you're talking about competition, which Coach Campbell says he talks about all the time, you give David Blau this job, this second job, because he by far has, without a doubt, earned the number 2 job. without a doubt, because he's totally different than Goff. He's scored. He's had five touchdown drives compared to one from I forgot his name. He's so irrelevant. I forgot his name. But it's just an obvious thing, even with the eye test, even if you weren't a casual fan. What do you think, Steve?
I think the thing I like about Blau is he's improved. Like when he started moving around and like moving out the pocket and made a couple of throws in the game against Pittsburgh, I was like, okay, where's this guy come from? Because the Blau that was playing in preseason last year was awful. I remember just thinking, please let nothing happen to Stafford, because Blau, just and when Blau got a chance in a couple of games, he just looked out of his depth. But this guy looks like he spent the last year improving, and that's something that we want to see a lot more of, because when you think about all of the draft picks we've wasted on, the Jared Davises and the Tavais of the world who've started and have never improved. And that's where I'm really excited that Anthony Lynn and Deuce Staley and, Eric and Glenn, they're going to bring the players through. And I think you saw in Melifonwu yesterday, he looked considerably better than he has done in practice in any of the other games. So that's a sign to me that like Aaron Glenn's starting to, some of that knowledge is starting to rub off on him.
Yeah, it's getting to a point with me where you can tell who's getting cut. I think there was a comment in the comments that just said like they made it very easy. That the fourth unit, made it very easy. Now quarterback is interesting, but let's get into running backs. I think that's the most compelling battle we have. That third, fourth running back spot if we keep four. Godwin has made his claim. Mbukwe has made his claim. Dedrick Mills, phenomenal runner of the football. Craig Reynolds, the legend of Craig Reynolds. We can go on and on. These players are phenomenal, and I want to see who you see makes the team, or I want to see who makes the team, and I want to see a practice squad from you guys and who gets cut. Yeah, let's go that way. Jamar Jefferson is also good too, but he's not promised anything either. So analytics, what you got for me?
So first, I think you have to start with the question of how many running backs are the Lions going to keep, because that does depend. Are we going to keep 3 or 4? I personally think we're going to keep 4 with Swift's injuries. I don't think they're that major, but we have a history of injuries. We all know this from Jahavid Best and Abdullah and even Reggie Bush. So keeping that one running back, and then also Jamar Jefferson, I don't know if all you guys know this, but he was in and out in an injury history at Oregon State. So that's 2 players who've had an injury history. Jamal Williams is the only healthy one. I think we keep 4. So the question is, I think Jamar Jefferson will make it. I thought he was pretty solid last week, and I thought he had a pretty good run week 1.
They've been hiding him. He'll do something well. I think yesterday was the first game we actually seen a portfolio from Jamar Jefferson.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why I think Jamar Jefferson is a secure number 3. He had a great camp, and he had a great rookie mini camp, and we saw a little bit. So I think it's quite clear that the 7th round draft pick from Oregon State is going to be our number 3. The number 4, on the other hand, it's going to be interesting. Will be Godwin, who's shown some ability to play special teams and had a pretty good game last week, but didn't do really anything at all the last 2 weeks. Or is it going to be Craig Reynolds, who's been a fan favorite and has played pretty well in the first 2 games and even had a nice little play earlier yesterday?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say I think it's probably going to be Godwin because of special teams. We have no returners right now, and we don't need a 4th good rushing running back.
Oh, and so Godwin gets cut, is what you're saying?
No, I think Godwin makes number 4. Because I don't think we need 4 good running backs in that group. Especially when I think Dedrick Mills is a secured practice squad player. I don't think anyone's really going to get Mills, and Mills has shown promise. Why I love Craig Reynolds, and I hope if he's available to get in the practice squad, go put him in the practice squad over Mills. But if you're concerned about losing Reynolds or Godwin, I'd keep Godwin in there because we need a returner. And we already have 3 running backs, so I'm confident in playing well and at least getting 4 yards per carry. So that's going to be my running back core.
Ryan, what you got for me?
Well, I'll start off by saying I agree. I don't trust DeAndre Swift to stay healthy at all. I like him, but my immediate where I see him in the future, I am very questionable about him. So he's running back 1 for now. We've got Williams at 2, who's going to have to take the load. We're going to have to carry four running backs because like Williams is going to take a battering if he's going to take that short yardage. So we'll have to carry 4 on the roster. I think I'll pencil, let's say, Jamar Jefferson is probably running back 3 right now. I just like the story of Craig Reynolds. Like, the guy came in the first game, no one even knew who he was. He was introducing himself in the huddle. I do agree, like say Godwin, like say offers the special teams, because like say other than Khalif Raymond, we're really going to struggle. Like not retaining the returner last year was a woeful decision. So special teams, that does add a benefit. I think if he hits his cut, I don't think Godwin will clear waivers and revert back to us, but I think Dedrick Mills would. So I would try keep Godwin on the practice squad, and Dedrick Mills will go, unfortunately. So I'll keep Craig, DeAndre, Jamal, and Jamar.
Yeah. Facts on facts. Steve, what you got for me?
Well, I think first of all, we absolutely need to keep a running back that's got returning ability, because I saw St. Brown was returning, I think, a punt yesterday, and my heart nearly stopped beating because I was thinking, oh my God, if this guy gets injured, how empty is our wide receiver room going to look? Get him off the field, get someone else returning.
Right.
I think the other thing to think about is that Williams is a really good pass catcher, and maybe they're not going to just use him as the kind of, the bruising, short yardage guy, but maybe they can mix him up a bit and scheme him to be a pass catching running back. And so maybe they want a bigger back to come through as RB3, RB4. So I think they've got to be creative, because I can see Swift missing 5 games with injury this season. I think Jefferson's done enough, and I don't think Jefferson would clear waivers. So I think he has to be taken. I think maybe Craig Reynolds is that bigger back who can protect Williams a bit and take the load off. And to me, every time he's got the ball, he looks like he could make something happen. So I would keep him, and then maybe Godwin on the practice squad.
Yeah. So who do you cut?
I'd cut Mills.
Yeah. I actually am in agreement with that, because I'm scared for Mills. I'm scared for Mills and Godwin. Mills and Godwin and Boukwe, because, Craig Reynolds, the actor. Oh my God. Oh man. Type in Reynolds, you get Craig Reynolds. I'm more on the fence with Dedrick Mills. I know, look, Coach Campbell said it very clearly yesterday in a press conference that these guys are not just trying out for the Lions, they're trying out for 31 other clubs. And, I really like having the most talent on the team. But at that position, the talent is loaded. That is probably second to our offensive line in my worry lies. Like, I don't worry about my offensive line at all, and I'm not worried about my running backs at all. Swift could potentially have growing issues if he re-aggravates that groin moving forward. Again, my biggest concern is keeping the most talent. So I like Craig Reynolds. It feels like he is a Reggie Bush Jr., a human joystick. Dedrick Mills is a bruising running back, and so is Godwin a little bit. And we've seen that he ran hard. At certain times, he did look slow. I seen him go outside the tackle box, and when he went outside the tackle box, he still made a positive game. He has a lot of good tape where he can get picked up by any club. I doubt, running back positions for a lot of people now are like by the wayside. I still believe a running back can be a franchise running back, and you can build a running team and be a winner. So there's going to be plenty of work for him. I think Mills is definitely someone you probably want to keep, maybe on the practice squad. But Reynolds got to make this roster no matter what. I don't know how you keep this running back core together, but you can't carry 5. I know that probably Jefferson gets the nod because he did return a little bit in college. And obviously, if they really like you, they don't want to show you to the world. You understand what I'm saying? I seen that in an interview with Bill Belichick and Collinsworth. he was talking about how great of a player and how great of a coach Flores was, and Collinsworth made a suggestion. Well, you didn't let me talk to him for his first year, and then when he coached for you, you didn't let me talk to him. Exactly, and so I believe that's going to carry some weight. I'm really ecstatic about keeping the best guy. I haven't seen nothing from Jefferson, but I know he's good. You've seen the practices, you've seen that. You haven't seen no tape on him necessarily, but he got positive gain after positive gain. I just can go on and on about my thrill, but Godwin's going to find work. Mills might be someone you just keep. And, Reynolds, you can't let him leave the building. If he leaves Detroit, oh, my God, it's going to be bad, especially if you're a zone running team like a Denver, like the Redskins. And he was on the Redskins before. So I'm pretty sure they're looking at him like, oh, my God, what's going on? Wide receiver. Let's go wide receiver. I got to start with you, analytics. Then I do want to say that my man. I'm checking my notes. I get nervous when there's so many people in the damn stream. It's so fucking awesome, man. I'm used to having one person. Shout out to Gilbert Bertello. Cephas made his case. Man. That's all I got to say on that. Analytics, what you got for me, man?
So first, you actually kind of took my beginning statement of Quintez Cephas, but I kind of want to build a bit more on Quintez Cephas. I even kind of talked about him one time, and Quintez Cephas, in my opinion, is the most underrated player on our roster, largely because he had 17.5 yards per catch last year, and had, I think it was 110 quarterback rating, also thrown his way, in limited snaps. If he actually got, if Kenny Golladay stayed hurt the entire year, and they didn't sign Mohamed Sanu, he would have had a decently good year, probably around 600 yards, 6 touchdowns, averages around it a bit. That's a good year. That's a much better year at a number 2 receiver than it would have been, per se, Khalif Raymond, who I've heard is supposed to be our number 2 right now on our depth chart.
Tracking.
And so, for me, the receiver core should be Tyrell, Cephas, St. Brown, Raymond, Allison, and if we're going to keep a 6 receiver, maybe McKinley. But I don't think we'll keep a 6 receiver. But
wow.
And so, for me, that's what I think it should be. But for right now, what I know is that Raymond's number 2, so number 3 will be St. Brown, number 4 will be Cephas, because I think Amon-Ra is a much better slot than Quintez Cephas would be.
Yeah. I'm on the I believe they should keep 4 or 5 receivers. I don't think they'd keep 6, but I'm seeing guys just prove their point and state their claim. Like Allison, we've seen something from him yesterday. He did have 2 drops, however, one drop specifically right after the David Blau run. It seemed like he didn't even want to go after the ball. So effort was a big thing on that play. I had to write that play down because I was furious that he didn't try to dive for it or make a play for it. He just put one hand out there, and it could have been a potential first down. But you make a valid argument, man. You make a valid argument. I know Ryan, you got something different to say? You gonna tell him off? What's gonna happen?
Well, I'll start by saying I'm not keeping Allison. Like, he's bounced around. Like, he's been around a few years. He's not shown much.
Yeah.
The wide receivers actually aren't that hard. Perryman is gone. I don't care about sentiment if his dad played here. He's rubbish. Like, he's just stealing a wage. Yeah, he's been crap for years. Victor Bolden had potential, but he just drops everything. He can't be trusted. So I'm not even keeping Victor Bolden. He won't even make the practice. He won't make the practice squad because he's just got his hands can't be trusted.
He's a shorts guy, isn't he? He only plays good in shorts.
Tyrell, I suppose, he's a shaky number 1. Amon-Ra 2. Cephas 3. I like Tom Kennedy. So Tom Kennedy will be my last receiver. Raymond is like penciled in right now as our starting returner, so you have to keep him. Yeah. If I have to keep someone that I want on the practice squad, it's going to be Javon McKinley. Like, I really want to keep hold of him. If we can't and he's got to revert, I will carry 6 receivers.
Right.
And I will just axe someone from the practice squad like Surratt. So I will go over full 6 and I'll keep McKinley, Kennedy, and like say the starting 4. So a bit different.
Right. And you know, some of these guys they're gonna have to develop, because I believe McKinley's ability. You know, I believe in it a lot, because when he was at Notre Dame, when he wasn't injured, he actually made plays and he was a difference maker for that offense when he was on the field. So holding on to him and keeping him on the practice squad, especially what he's shown, is better than a Allison. You know, this kid probably has more potential than him and Tom than any. I'm shocked. Cut Victor Bolden, but he hasn't shown nothing. They've given him plays to show something. They've given him a template to work with, and again, he's failed to meet the challenge. So that's a good perspective on you, Steve C. What you think?
Yeah, we did a podcast a couple of weeks ago where we all kind of did like, who's your surprise cut? Who's going to be the surprise cut on August 31st? And I said Perriman, because A, the guy can't stay healthy, and B, when he has had his chance, he's not really done anything at all. And yeah, he's obviously, I think, got a better contract, you know, a bit better than the basic contract, but you know, he's got to go. He's just not shown anything. I think because the wide receiver group is just so fragmented, and there's also health concerns. Like, for me, you've got to take some reliability. I think St. Brown looks to me like a safe pair of hands, and someone that isn't going to be amazing year one, but is someone that they're going to develop. So I can see St. Brown having a decent rookie year, but really developing into a star maybe next year. I think Cephas has shown flashes of like real quality, and I think he should definitely be signed up. I think Williams, as I agree with Ryan, he's a shaky number 1. And for me, Tom Kennedy, I think there's something really like heartwarming and sentimental about the small white guy receiver. I think every team in the NFL should have like a small white guy that doesn't look very athletic, but is just super reliable, doesn't drop anything. Yeah. And I think he's our wide receiver 5, and I'd put McKinley on the practice squad.
If you cut Tom Kennedy, he's probably going to the Bucks. He is probably going to New England. He's probably going to the Dolphins, and he's going to be a difference maker for somebody. So you can't, your analysis on Tom Kennedy, man, it is a heartwarming thing, man. Just like with the Craig Reynolds, you know, tidbit here. Tom Kennedy, I know y'all know this. I don't know if the streamers know. Tom Kennedy initially went to rookie minicamp this year. Now, he wasn't a rookie at all. He just put in that extra work. And then he put in the extra work of getting flown out by Jared Goff. And that was enormous too. So he's already shown that he's willing to work to stay on the roster. And then you see the change, and you see all this manifest where he's making catches every game. He's doing something positive every game. My only issue with Tom Kennedy was it was a situational thing with that first preseason game with the Bills. And I don't want to get into that because that's a whole different thing. It's just philosophy. If I would have caught the ball, I would have went straight down. We would have got out the clock, and we would have got out there with a win. So Tom Kennedy, for me, definitely has to stay on this roster. Like you said, Williams is not the guy. I said Williams was a bum when he first got here. Perriman is cut. And if I had my way, Williams would be cut too. But we need a deep threat. You know, I'm right there with you, Ryan. He is a shit. I think that's what you said, right? No, that's awesome what you said. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was awesome. So Cephas is definitely number 3. St. Brown, analyst then, is the number 2. I believe you said that as well. And, you know, everybody by the wayside. Say Surratt, where you at, bro? I was very high on Say Surratt. He was one of my last season, I was looking at him highly. I thought he would go in the 3rd round. I liked him. I liked what he offered, the big body, the Galladay type. He has shown nothing. he's going to get cut, and that's unfortunate because he hasn't shown anything. They put him in positions to be red zone. I'm really disheartened by his performance in preseason. But the surprise performance for me was this freaking Tom Kennedy. Oh my God. And Victor Bolden not improving on his momentum. He had momentum in the spring, and it just didn't improve. So we got wide receiver down. I know for a fact no one's interested in this because you have Darren Fells and you have Hawkins. You have a Pro Bowler, top 100 player, and you have a steady guy, right? Who's going to be the number 3 tight end? And I only ask because
Is he lagged for you guys, or is it me?
Yeah, it's lagged, yeah.
Well, should we just kind of like answer his question, or?
It's going to be Elise Mack in it.
Probably, yeah. It's probably going to be Elise Mack. I mean, Campbell's just praised that guy so much. I mean, have you even heard Dan Campbell talk about Brock Wright?
Okay.
No.
Y'all good now?
I think you're back. Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you back.
Awesome. We got 25 devices. So anyway, I know nobody wants to talk about tight ends, but you got to think about it. We have 2 very capable tight ends. We have one that's a very good athlete with Elise Mack. He's done some blocking. We've only seen him catch a couple times. And this dude, Brock, is amazing. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but he just does everything good. He does everything well. He doesn't get called for holding penalties. He makes a play, he catches, he blocks. He's so stable. I'm gonna get his exact name because put up the depth chart.
Brock Wright.
Brock Wright.
Yeah, Brock Wright. This dude is, this dude's just solid, and that's what you want. You want to see players in preseason not make mistakes, and he just hasn't. It's been odd. So, what do you guys think?
So, I think Brock Wright deserves the job, but it's going to be Elise Mack. And here's the reasons they say this. Number one, have you ever seen Dan Campbell talk about Brock Wright? No, it's always Mack. Every time I read a news article on the number 3 tight end, it's always Elise Mack. He's a young guy. He's raw. He's explosive. I even saw him talk more about Hunter Thedford when he was still on the team. And so it's always been Mack. And Mack's from when Dan Campbell was a tight end and the tight ends coach in New Orleans. So that's familiarity. So I think familiarity and a little bit of bias that Campbell has is that Mack will be our number 3. I think Brock Wright deserves it. I think he's done a good job as a blocker, and he's been more explosive with the ball than Elise Mack. Mm-hmm. I think preseason week 1 or week 2, 1 of 2. Elise Mack only had 1 catch for 1 yard.
That's it.
And I thought he looked terrible as a blocker.
That's it.
It's a terrible day. But I'm team Wright, but I think it's going to be Mack out of bias.
Out of bias. And see, that's what I'm talking about right there. It's not about you. It's more about this coaching staff. I'm going to put this coaching staff on the hook for what they say, just like I put myself on the hook for what I say. You talk about competition. Tim Boyle cannot be competition. Brock Wright has been great or solid. Let's say solid because phenomenal is just such a big word, right? So he's been solid. He deserves the job. He's caught the ball well. He's blocked well. No penalties on him. He's performed very well. But do you go with familiarity or do you go with the actual production? I think Elise Mack is a developmental project, and you put him on the practice squad probably to mimic very good athletic tight ends. What you think, Ryan? Mr. McCluskey?
I'll start by saying in an ideal world, I would love to see Brock get the job. When we signed Josh Hill, it was to do one thing, and that was block. That's the thing he did well. And what we've seen from Brock is he can block and he doesn't get caught holding. He keeps his hands inside. He keeps it clean, which is really nice. And we're going to need an extra blocker on the end of the line. Like say receptions, he's caught the odd pass. But when you look at Elise Mack, He's been around the block a few times. He's a bit of a veteran for a young guy. He spent that time in Indy. Like I say, he's bounced around a bit. I think just off of possible experience, he will probably take the tight end third slot because we know Campbell likes him. But I would love to try retain Wright, but I don't know if that's going to be possible, trying to keep him on the practice squad. But if we can keep him in the building in some format, I would love to keep him in and work on him because we've struggled at tight ends for a few years. Hunter Bryant was always injured. He turned into a bust. Bedford's gone. Charlie T, like I say, he didn't happen this year. So I would love to try keep Brock in some right, but Mac will take tight end 3.
Right. And, you know, Mac is, if he's in a game and he gets the opportunity to split out wide and go off the safety and use his athleticism, his height and athleticism against a safety or against a linebacker, and he does well, oh man, he's going to be a tremendous player. It's about developing these players. You know, I think they can really take a cue from the Miami Dolphins of 2019. They led the league in how many players got the start or how many players played in the league, and they still that year they had so much turnover on their roster. They put guys from the practice squad. They they made guys interchangeable, and you know you want to very good positions to win. So I want to see him develop. I want to see more from him. What do you think, Steve C?
Yeah, well, first of all, we were talking about Tavai being slow earlier.
Is it acting funny again?
Oh my God! When Darren Fells caught a ball, how slow did he look? He was like he was running through porridge. So, you know, I think we've got to remember that Hockenson is going to play a hell of a lot of snaps this year. I think he's probably going to lead us in receiving yards. And I wonder whether our third tight end is currently even on the squad. Because I just don't think Mac's got enough. I think Brock needs to go on the practice squad. So I'm just wondering whether when other teams start cutting down to 53, is there going to be a tight end somewhere that can plug straight back in?
Of course, I have the problems.
Did you miss that?
Yeah, I missed you. I apologize.
Yeah, I was just saying that I wonder whether there's even a tight end 3 at the moment on the roster that's going to be in that position, and whether they're going to wait to see if another team cuts a tight end when they're getting down to 53, because I don't think Mac's got what it takes, and I'm worried about how slow Fells looks.
Yeah.
Well, Fells has never been fast,
so.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you made a tremendous point. That's going to be the next question. These roster cuts are not just about this team intrinsically. It's about who we can get from another team. And if that player is still better or borderline better than what we have, that's going to be tremendous. Like Isaiah Ford, I'm just using him as an example. A player last year who was traded to New England, got cut by New England. He just got cut again for the 130th time, right? Got cut again. He's probably going to be back with the team if injuries happen. There's going to be a lot of surprise cuts. Do the Lions bring in more younger players or veteran players or familiarity? Just tell me your thoughts on that. I'm going to start with Amon. Do you understand what I'm asking? I'm asking probably a loaded question, but let's just free ball it, okay? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing with the tight end position is it's notoriously one of the hardest to learn, like for players coming out of college, because you've got to learn all of the catching routes and all of the blocking stuff as well. And so many tight ends don't really develop until 3rd, 4th year. And you can see in Hockenson's progression how he's developed. And I think that there's going to be a 3rd or 4th or 5th year tight end somewhere on another roster that's going to be better than on us trying to, bring through players with little experience. And I also think Kabinda is going to get schemed as a tight end 3 at times.
Really? Wow. That's really dope. That's a dope idea. That's dope. Tell me what you think, Amon. Is your name Amon for real?
No.
Okay. So I just got the Facebook. Analytics then. Tell me what you think.
So I kind of, for one, I want to say that's a pretty unique idea with Jason Kabinda.
Fucking unique. That's why we got this. That's why we're here. Worldwide, baby.
Oh, I love it. But I think you have to realize this. I think it's going to be vet players. And I don't think it's going to be some kind of like preseason star. Because when we talk about preseason, does anyone remember Jace Blingsley back when he was with us during the Quinn-ish era? He was always like, he was a fan favorite. Like I remember people legitimately telling me he's the next Golden Tate or whatever. And he's retired. He hasn't done anything. And like that's my reason. So that's why I see a lot of people in here saying, "Oh, Tom Kennedy for things." But we've also never seen like Tom Kennedy play an actual snap. So when it comes to it, I think it's 100%. I think he's 100% right. It's got to be a vet. It's. I don't know who that vet will be. I don't know if you have an idea in mind on your vet, but it's probably going to be a vet, or it's just going to be someone who's just on the roster.
Wow.
I can think of a vet.
Go ahead.
I can think of a veteran. If he's checked out, I would ring up Delaney Walker. Like, he has been really good over the years. He's aging a bit, like he's coming off some injuries, but I'm pretty sure he's still in the league. Like, he's still looking for work. I think he could be very serviceable. So I'd give him a ring up. It won't be too expensive, but it's all about if his bill of health checks out. But no, someone like him would be a pretty savvy veteran on a 1-year veteran deal. So I think there is room. We've got a bit of cap space to bring a guy in and help at tight end 3.
Right. And I want to make it clear that if you bring in more talent, I mean, please let that person that is a preseason guy that was a surprise cut from wherever team he's from, please let that person be better. Like for linebacker, I don't want to see a Jelani Tavai-S. You understand? I don't want to be reminded of, I don't want to be reminded of another bad player coming here. So I don't want to recycle no one's bad trash, but it'd be interesting if there's a receiver needy team, like those receiver heavy teams are going to cut some decent receivers. And I think Miami's going to cut somebody surprisingly. I've been doing a lot of research on Miami and the 49ers. And Indianapolis, that Strong guy, he's been lighting it up. So for him to be playing in the fourth quarter, up until the end of the game, someone's going to look at him and say, if this guy gets cut, we got him. 6'4", very good guy, small college. I think that would be the first person I jump on, and I would cast aside whoever on his roster thinks they're a real receiver. But yeah, this works for different positions, especially tight end 3. So you're right on the money there. I like who you said. It was solid. So give me some more. Give me some more ideas on where would you look? What position wise would you look for another team? Would you look at safety? Would you look at linebacker? Would you look at tight end? Just give me positions where you want to poach. Would you poach a Ram? What would you poach?
Are we doing him down again or Mike?
Oh, I'm starting with you.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, man.
We switched on the last round. I didn't know if that was just permanently switching.
No, you good.
All right. So I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It just all depends, because I wouldn't trade, but maybe in waivers. I don't have the waiver list with me right now on who has been cut. Yeah. But truthfully, it's very rare that players in waivers really do anything. I think the last time we've had a player in waivers really do amazing for us was, well, not even amazing, but do at least a role for us was J.D. McKissick. And then last year, like, nobody. And there's maybe like a Travis Fulgham was with the Eagles. So with me, I like our team. I'm one of the few people that likes our team, and I'm actually confident in we're at most spots. For example, Barnes really solidified my fears in the inside linebacker spot. Anthony Pittman
Yes.
also really solidified my fears in the inside linebacker spot.
Bye-bye, Tavai.
Yeah, bye-bye Tavai. He's going to start a taco truck, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But the safety core, I also had my worries to start the season. I even stated it in my offseason video that we have worries. I mean, Tracy Walker had his concerns after a regressive year, but he was elite in 2019. Well, I don't know about elite, but great. And Will Harris had been Will Harris. And then he just kind of played well this preseason. I think he had one bad play, and the rest he looked like he was all over the place, in my opinion. Even Dean Marlowe had a really good game versus Buffalo. So I think I'd rather keep our team's chemistry together and continue to build that off rather than go and get another player.
Right. What do you think, Steve C? Sorry to go out of order. I know this about
our secondary scares the crap out of me. I think at safety we're light. I think Dean Marlowe. I think he was safety 3 at Buffalo last year and had a pretty solid season. But as you said, Will Harris is Will Harris. Safety is a position where you look around the league and the safeties everywhere that are making plays. You look at the safety play in the Super Bowl, and how the Bucs use their safeties, and the safety group is just not making plays and not making turnovers. So for me, bringing someone at safety is essential. I also think our cornerback group is just really worrying. I think Akuda could well get injured again.
You're not on the Bobby Price train? I know some people were on the Bobby Price sell the world train.
I think a year with Aaron Glenn and Bobby Price could be amazing. His relative athletic score is off the charts, but he's still learning the game, and you can see that when he got found out. I think on one play. I mean, you saw Mike Ford, I think, drop a big chunk yard play to him, just like losing concentration. And for me, if we're going to take someone off another roster, it's got to be cornerback or safety.
Right. It's definitely like did I ask you that as well, Analytics? I got you that. Oh, you didn't want one. You said you didn't want a veteran.
There's not really a veteran I like. Who would you get?
Who would I get?
Game changing.
I got people on the bubble today, and Cardinals linebacker Jordan Hicks, another one fans were clamoring about. They were really clamoring about.
Oh, he's gone again.
They were really clamoring. Can you hear me?
He's back.
Yeah.
What the? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Y'all see me?
Your video's frozen, but I can hear you.
Yeah. Maybe turn off your cam. That might be some of the reason you might be lagging.
Y'all got me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Great voice.
Oh. Maybe he needs to turn off his cam. That always helps with my lag sometimes.
Go on, Ryan.
Yes, that's Darwin. You're right. Getting rid of Diggs was a big mistake. I totally agree. Even with the return we got and what we picked, but like I said, that was a mistake. I agree. Like I say, I would go into the safety market as well. Like Will Harris is a turd. You can't polish it. He's gonna get blown out. He's gonna burn this year. He's gonna give up big plays. I've been a kind of guy, like you say, like I know he's been injury prone. He's had down seasons, but we've worked out Will Park to safety. He's just been cut. Trey Boston, he's still on the market, and he offers like potential that's strong and free safety. So I'd work him out. I like our young corners like AJ Parker, Jerry Jacobs. Like they could do something. I do worry about a veteran corner like Quinton Dunbar. Kind of excited me when he arrived. I thought he might get that old form back, but stuff's going on in his personal life, like you say. So he has passed on to a new team or maybe leaving the league. But I would sign a veteran corner or safety, yeah. But I'd look quite carefully. But that's the back end where it does worry me.
I really apologize about the connection issues, guys. I don't know. I've had the best Wi-Fi when no one's on. You know.
Well, you're connecting with someone who's from the other region of your country, and then you got two people from different parts of a whole nother country.
Oh,
So
I
don't
get it.
worry.
Oh, I'm an IT guy. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I got some stress on the bandwidth, but Jesus Christ. You know what? I got to really, this is like being deployed. I got to really get all the Wi-Fi. You know, some soldiers get like 2 or 3 Wi-Fi boxes just to make sure that they're connected. I liked who you said. I liked who you said, Ryan. I did have a problem with the linebackers. There's some people that's on the now. People on the bubble are. I'm only saying their names because they're on the list. Okay. So Cardinals, Jordan Hicks, a linebacker. Zaven Collins had a great camp. Isaiah Simmons has torn it up, and the long view is Hicks is going to be gone, so they might as well cut ways now. Latavius Murray. You said what?
They're going to cut good depth. That surprises me.
You said what? They're going to cut Jordan?
Yeah, that surprised me. He's good depth. You only have 3 guys.
They say
don't they play like a 3-4?
They say if they cut him now, they save $6 million next year. And Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins have just had such a tremendous camp in the financial sense. They're talking about the financial sense because they have a luxury at linebacker. Imagine that. Imagine a freaking team having a luxury at line. I can't even imagine that. Cardinals also have a luxury at wide receiver. Cardinals wide receiver Andy Isabella, 4.3 speed, 2019 young player, UMass product. But they spent a round 2 selection on Rondale Moore, and they've cut players like Larry Fitzgerald. They're clearly moving a different direction. You have DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, and Christian Kirk. So he's not going to get no playing time, it looks like. And he's still apparently – he only cost $2 million. I would keep him as a retirement. I don't know why they would talk about that. And, man, I see Jimmy Graham. I'm not going to bring that name up for real because he's a joke. It's a joke anyway to me. But there's going to be some intriguing cuts from other teams. Now, I do like the players that we have. I really do. Here's a whole list of the league. Josh Dobbs, no. John Kelly, Jacob Phillips, and safety. Sheldrick Redwine. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a lot of cuts. What I don't like about this new preseason is we didn't have too much time. We only had 3 games to really gauge where we are compared with other teams. But if they played Indianapolis in the real world, we know we would lose. But the heart they showed, the ability they showed, it was nice. And the key contributors were Barnes. It was just a standout. Can you guys name somebody that you don't want to get rid of right now, or you don't want to see go? Kevin Strong is another one. Who do you don't want to see go?
So for me, on players I don't want to see go like at all. I don't want to see Kevin Strong go. I feel like that's kind of like a unanimous one. But a player I really liked, and I see a couple people are saying, "Oh, we can't cut Tavai for this." Is Sean Dion Hamilton?
Yeah,
Hamilton killing it at camp whenever he was out. He was great in coverage. He's shown potential in Washington, and I think he's a much better player than Tavai. Now, granted, he's on IR, so I don't think we get him immediately after the season starts. But that's a player I don't want to see go. But I think out of all the players that we have that I don't want to see go, like completely, like at all, is I'm gonna have to go with AJ Parker.
Yeah.
After how well he played at nickel, I don't see why you could let go of AJ Parker and for like Nikhil Roby-Coleman or Mike Ford or Corn Elder.
Right. Yeah, Corn Elder really showed something. He showed something, but he hasn't shown enough. He doesn't have the volume to move forward with that. That sucks for him. What do you got? What do you got, Ryan?
Well, analytics took my answer. I was going to say AJ Parker, but on the flip side, I really don't want to see Mike Ford go, because like that dude has come on a lot in like the last few years. Like he went from like a rotational special teamer to like now one of the best tacklers on the team. He's big. He's like 6'1", like, and there's not that much competition at like nickel corner. Cornelder probably won't be around long. Neither will Rick. Like Roby Coleman is, like you say, a bit of a veteran, so he might be only here a year or two. AJ Parker might be his only real competition, or Jerry Jacobs for that long-term nickel slot. Like, I think he's working well. He's become a solid tackler. He's a strong guy, and I think he's still relatively young. So he's got those like raw things. He's got a good IQ. I'd love to see Mike Ford like take another step up this year and see more playing time in the slot if possible.
Yeah, I like Sean Deion Hamilton, and the sad part is the positions we're talking about. We don't want to see these people go, but they're gonna go. What do you got for me, Steve?
Well, I'm going to maybe cause a bit of controversy here, because I'm going to talk about a position that's pretty stacked, where the competition is fierce. And I know we talked about this in the Raw the Lions like chat, and there was a lot of very different opinion. So I don't want to see Deshaun Hand go, because Deshaun Hand's been with us 3 years. First season, he was absolutely awesome. I think his PFF grade was 85 for the season. And then he's just had like bad luck with injuries, and he's just had niggling injuries that's disrupted him. But I think this guy's got like real talent. I think he's still only 25. I mean, the guy's a beast, and he can seriously do some damage on the interior. And for me, I think he'll benefit with working with a new team of coaches. They'll bring him on. Like some of these players that are in their second or third year, we've almost got to look at them as rookies, because they've just not learned anything under Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia regime. They've just not learned anything. So for me, let's keep Deshaun Hand and let's see what he can do, and give him another season to prove himself, because I think the guy will deliver. And I know that we've got Levi and Aleem and, like I said, a stacked defensive line, but I think he's one to keep.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I would think that's blasphemy if you say cut him.
Oh, well, a lot of people have been saying he's on the way out.
What?
Who? Well,
yeah, just because like Kevin, obviously with the rookies and Kevin Strong, and you've got like Penasini, Nick Williams. I mean, there's a lot of bodies on that interior.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Kevin Strong a defensive end?
He's a defensive tackle. I thought he was I thought he was a nose tackle.
I think he can play like three gap as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's that guy that can play the entirety line deal.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Hand?
I like Hand a lot. I'm gonna let Ryan, and then I'm gonna let analytics. Well, I'm messing up the order because I'm trying to focus in on that. That's crazy. That's bizarre. People want him gone. That's
if you'd asked me last year, I'd have been open to letting Hand go, or even see if he's got any trade value. But now the fact we've stood Flowers up, like Flowers has gone from an end to an outside linebacker, is that Hand's no longer in the dirt. I feel like Hand has to stay, because we need that pressure off the edge, and someone's got to be opposite Flowers. And I think Hand can potentially show that. I think it's going to mean the end of Austin Bryant or Nick Williams, like maybe both go. But if Hand is able to, like say, keep his shoulder healthy, which has caused him problems, he can potentially, hopefully, be that monster off the edge again. And I'm hoping we can have some bookend ends with him and Romeo Okwara. So I think this is going to be a big year for him. It's a make or break year for him. But yeah, he's going to make the roster. And like I say, they're going to challenge him to try find that 2019 form.
Yeah. So he's listed as the defensive end. And in the 3-4 defense, he would play that 5 technique or 4 technique if they want to go inside. And he's literally the second defensive end, because you have Michael Brockers in front of him. And for me, Deshaun Hand, the fact that people thought, especially last year, I could see last year, you'd be open to trading him, see if he has some value. But Jashawn Cornell, Joel Heath, sorry, guys. And, And, this is people's livelihood. I don't want to be an asshole. This is, I don't want to be that. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy. This is people's jobs. So, analytics, what do you think about the defensive line? Who gets cut?
Not Kevin Strong. Let's start with that statement. I actually think a player who's way more on the fringe roster is Deshaun Hand over Kevin Strong. Hand has not been healthy for 3 years. In his almighty year that we praise, he was great. I'm going to say this: if he can play in 2019 consistently and be healthy, then I would agree with you. Yeah. Except it's not like he was Aaron Donald in 2018. Yeah. I mean, he had 3 sacks, 9 pressures, 27 tackles. That's a good year. And I think he had 2 forced fumbles too.
Yeah, he did. But, against the Chicago Bears. No.
Yeah, is that worth cutting a consistent player like Kevin Strong, who's apparently showing up and playing as good as Hand has? No, I don't think. I think Cornell and Heath are goners for sure. Cornell has a 3-game suspension. I think maybe he'll make the practice squad. But yeah, Kevin Strong's not going. It's more likely Hand. I would say Nick Williams, due to the fact Nick Williams has been just as injured as Hand, but Nick Williams is the vet. He's getting paid more, and apparently he's being called a leader in the locker room, so that's probably the reason they're going to keep him there.
You like Deshaun Cornell and Joel Heath and Miles Brown? Well, you said no to Joel Heath. You like Miles Brown and Deshaun Cornell?
Miles Brown had a solid game the other day, but I'm more of a Cornell person. Mostly because I watched every snap of Jeff Okudah in 2019, and Cornell was someone who kind of popped out to me. But
So this is my brain right here. I'm thinking to keep Deshaun Hand or keep someone that's on the fringe, you would have to get rid of a Bruce Hector. So it really comes down to Bruce Hector and those other guys. I like Bruce Hector better than Deshaun Cornell because of the suspension and because of the level of play and what he can offer at the defensive end as well as the nose tackle. And I think that's going to be really good for him. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. There's going to be some tough decisions made.
Yeah.
I'm very wary about saying anything bad about Nick Williams because we tweeted something out on our account and he was right back at us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to not even say his name again.
Oh, yeah. Nick Williams is called a leader in the locker room. Analytics Den, right there in the locker room.
He's certainly a warrior on social media.
He what? He did what to you?
What did he say, Ryan?
We mentioned that he could be on the roster bubble, and he was just like, yeah, okay, bro. And then lots of laughing faces. And all his buddies came with him.
The fact that players watch the podcast and the ESPNs, of course, is hilarious to me, man. It's hilarious.
Like he searches his name. He was looking for tweets with his name in. Like, that dude is paranoid.
Yeah, because he's on the bubble. That's why he's paranoid.
Yeah, he's on the bubble.
Oh, no. Fans just going to come to comments and sections and be like, I thought I warned you to.
Right.
If he wants to come on the show, I am publicly inviting Nick Williams to come on. We'll have it out. I'd love to chat to the dude.
Right.
But I just want to say as well, I felt sorry for Deshaun Cornell because I know when we drafted him, didn't he tear his ACL a week after we drafted him in his rookie year? That was bad. But the moment he got suspended for this infringement, he pretty much signed his death certificate. He was always going to get cut with the suspension, no matter how well he played in preseason or showed up, because that's not a Dan Campbell kind of thing. He won't want suspension looming over a guy. So I feel sorry for him, but Cornell's gone. Hector has shown flashes. I can kind of get behind Hector. Maybe on a practice squad kind of guy. He's shown the odd bit, so that could be something there to work with. But no, I think Nick will probably revert. We'll probably keep Nick for the leadership. Hand will stay. I think Austin Bryant, likes of him, he's a goner.
Yeah, you should invite Nick on the show after you get cut. He gonna have some free time.
Nick was such a bad signing. 2 years, $10 million.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Nick Williams. So this is the biggest reason why I say Brad Holmes is the great future of the GM, because our previous GM decided, hey, this journeyman defensive tackle who's had one good season, let's go pay him $10 million. And that's going to be the exact reason why he's going to make the team, because he's a vet, a leader, and they owe him money. Just
Right.
plain old. I like Deshaun Hand more than I like Nick Williams. If I had to take 2 injured guys all the time, I'd give me Hand. But now we have to keep the guy who actually we owe some fair amount of money to. So, rip.
Well, about that, he reworked his deal to stay on this roster because he was up to get cut, and he was like, he tweeted out, "In Campbell I trust" or something, and he was really a believer in the new regime and everything being said. So for him to be on a bubble is interesting to me because I thought he was trying to be more vocal. I thought he was trying to be. I know he was on the COVID list for practice, and he had a couple situations come up. But if we cut him, oh man, I like it already because it's ruthless. You think about how some of these teams built their roster. They didn't care about your feelings and all that stuff. Championships, they want hardware. Especially this regime has to win quickly. They're not expected to win now, of course. They're expected to be the top 3 teams in the draft. But for certainly next year, when you have a potentially 60 to 90 million in cap room, given the right situations, you don't care. You like, hey, let's get this, let's get these people out of here. I want to go linebacker and then defensive back, and we're gonna cap it off because I know I promised you guys an hour 30 because you guys are freaking amazing. Y'all got videos to do. We're gonna have some closing thoughts from you guys afterwards, and y'all gonna pub your channels and pub your stuff, man. I'll put in the banners. I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe to these guys because I feel silly up here. I feel silly. You got Analytics Den. This dude is phenomenal with the numbers. And then you guys, I've been introduced to you guys by Luke G's channel, and you guys are just as phenomenal as if you were right downtown in Ford Field. Okay, you guys know what's going on. So I really appreciate y'all being here. So linebacker, we talked about Jelani. We know Jelani has to go. I mean, just based off that. But I want to really talk about, did Austin Bryant or Jalen Reeves-Maybin or Rashawn Berry, he know he gone. He know he gone, that bum. Did they earn a roster spot? Tell me which one of them. Or are they all cut? You can just say they all cut. Amon, I'm going to start with you.
So it has to go with the fact that of a person who's made our team, like earned his case, it's Anthony Pittman easily. I mean, Derek Barnes was guaranteed to make it. You don't cut a 4th-round draft pick unless he's like a Jelani Tavai cough. But and so that's someone who definitely made that spot. And then no one really, per se, in my opinion, really lost his job other than Jelani Tavai. Bryant had a couple good run plays. I think he even got a good couple pressures in there. Julian Okoro was fantastic. I think he earned himself the number 3 outside linebacker spot. Rashad Berry's out. When I first saw him, I legitimately thought he was a safety. That guy is so small.
I never seen that dude in my life. I swear I never seen him.
But if I was going to say one thing, don't be surprised if Anthony Pittman is kind of listed above Derek Barnes because he played the 2nd-string team compared to Barnes, who played the 3rd and 4th string.
So you keep Devontae Beckett and Sean Dion as well?
Sean Dion can't apparently make it because I just saw I don't know if it's one of you guys are in the Roar of Lions right now, but apparently he's on IR and can't make the team. So technically, he can be on the team, but he won't play the regular season. Beckett, he didn't really lose anything. I just think he secured himself in the practice squad like we all knew he was going to be.
Right.
I'd prefer Beckett over Tavai if we have to keep that extra linebacker.
Right.
But yeah.
No. I'm gonna let Ryan and then Steve go, and then I'm gonna have my linebacker because I got some. If I had a gunshot thing, I'm gonna get the sound effects. Okay, I got some linebackers that need to go, so I'm gonna let y'all talk. So Ryan, what you got for me?
Berry's gone unless he turns into a tight end because he apparently can play tight end, but we haven't since he's gone. Tavai's gone. Now Jalen Reeves-Maybin, I've been rooting for this guy for years. He's made up for he's kept his roster spot because of fantastic special teams play. But unfortunately, that's not enough, and he's run out of time. He's not seen the field enough, like you say. He hasn't been active enough. I think this is the year JRM goes. I don't think he can be saved just because he's such a good special team anymore. So that's a shame. Pittman will stay. Like say Sean Dane Hamilton, like say with the IR, so he's kind of like here, like you say, either way, but can't play.
Yeah, Pittman ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, Beckett, like say, I'm hoping we can retain him on the practice squad. So, like say, hopefully we'll be able to make him designated or protect him because, like I say, there's something there to potentially work with it inside backer. Like say, so yeah, like say, it's. I'm not sure how many we'll carry, but the designated cuts are pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, matter of fact, it's to the point for me, Anthony Pittman here. I would have to be talking to a Lions fan that's a casual fan that, you know, occasionally smokes angel dust through a straw. Because like Anthony Pittman has solidified himself. I see him track the ball 10 yards. Like 10 yards, just track the ball on the other side of. He was the only one making plays in the fourth quarter because they were sorry in the fourth. So, tell me what you think, Steve.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ryan. I think, and we've got to think about this roster in terms of the next 2 or 3 years, and not about next month. You know, we've had 4 years to look at Reeves-Maybin. 4 years. You know, the guy. It's not like he's not had a chance. He's had 4 seasons to make an impact, and all he's done in the 4 seasons is told us he's not good enough for the roster long term. Yeah, like a good special teams player, but for me, that's the kind of very definition of why you just don't keep guys hanging around if they can't make plays. If Barnes goes down, or Jamie Collins goes down, or Anzalone goes down, you want someone that can plug in because it's a long season, 17 games. Yeah, we know what Reeves-Maybin's all about, and I just think that his time's up, and that's why someone like Pittman or Beckett, you know, these are younger guys, and they need time working under Aaron Glenn, and they're going to improve. I genuinely think Aaron Glenn is going to bring these guys through. So let's give these guys a chance, and let's clear out some of the older guard.
Right, because right now, you know, you could take the scorched earth method. You can just have these young guys that you can coach that don't have that lion stench on them, that losing stench. And you can just rebuild with these young guys. And they're going to be, you can mold them into the culture you want. Pittman is everywhere on the field. He shows effort every play. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, you've been here for 4 years. You took up the mantle after we lost Josh Bynes, who was – right? So for me, I think that you got to go. I'm going to show you the door. I'm going to show you, don't get no coffee on the way out. You got to go. It's over with. I'm sorry. It's over with. And I'm not being animated. I've watched this guy take money for 4 years. You know, I've watched him in I think Caldwell era too. Take money. Yeah. And so it's pleasing to me. As far as the other linebackers, and my phone died. As far as the other linebacker, I know I want him gone. Jelani's a no-brainer. Matter of fact, I was a catalyst for his weight loss and getting in shape, and I was really high on him. You know, Amon knows. I think he watched that Saving Grace video on Tavai. He told me that. And I was really impressed. Not anymore. Not anymore. It's time. You know, it's time to go, big dog. We show you the door. Tavante Beckett, like you said, analytics. He didn't really lose anything. You know, you can keep him on the practice squad. You can develop him. He's decent. You know, he has safety speed. He's a smaller linebacker, but he shows effort. I've seen him track down a ball as well, or track down a man with the ball. And he's shown that he can be trusted to show effort. And that's what you want when you having this scorched earth method. You want to find guys that just show effort every play. And Jalen Reeves-Maybin, he just has that stink on him from Detroit. Like, if I were to tell a random fan You've been doing your job, and you're known for your job. You're known for this one particular job, but you got other tasks in your job. If I were to tell a fan, you're a receptionist, and you can answer phones real well, but you can't do nothing else. You can't file paperwork. You can't do a damn thing. They would be like, wow, I don't know how I kept my job. Exactly. Steve, did we leave off on you?
No, I was just going to say, Tavai's the guy that, he answers the phone, but then you get him to like go down to the store for like coffee, and he comes back with like the wrong order.
Right. He might come back with a hamburger.
That's an upgrade, honestly, though. So and the thing had to be something else.
And the thing is, as well, is Dan Campbell has given him. He's almost given Tavai every single snap of 3 practice games, and still nothing.
Yeah.
Can I just reply? Like, Thunder Cunt Smith has just said you're underselling how good Jalen Reeves-Maybin is at special teams. That doesn't mean you get a roster squad, because Jamal Agnew was great at special teams, but he was a crap wide receiver. You don't keep a roster spot. If you can't play regular football, but you can play special teams, you don't keep your roster spot. So we get it, like TS, like he's good at special teams, but that's not good enough to get a 53, and it cost Jamal Agnew.
Right.
I will say this though. Does it really matter about how well a linebacker, who's not even our 4th linebacker, he'll be our 5th linebacker, plays and how he plays on the field if he's elite at special teams? And who do you replace him with? Are you really going to get someone who's that much better than Jalen Reeves-Maybin to be our 5th linebacker?
I got an idea, guys. I got an idea, guys. Let's put a refrigerator out on the field. I bet you it makes a tackle on special teams.
Oh, linebacker runs right into it.
Right. I bet you he gets it right. We're not underselling. I don't want to disregard that person. We're not underselling special teams. You want to see growth. I can get anybody in the world, especially soldiers. Any Army person is going to be in some type of physical shape. And trust me, I've seen round and outside 25 Bravos. I've seen, 91. I've seen mechanics and IT Army people in the whole uniform busting out the uniform, but they can still run 40 yards and make a tackle. I'm not trying to disrespect what he's doing. What I'm saying is the 4th linebacker. Oh my God. If he's
not going to be over Pittman. He's going to be our 5th linebacker.
We're just going to deal with it. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. We're just going to deal with it. We're going to cope because we're not making the decisions. I will call Brad Holmes up. I will do that. All right. I see this is like a pressure cooker. So let's get to safety and your defensive back or whatever. Defensive back. So who we keeping? Who do we cut? Let me I'm gonna start with you, Amon. Analytics.
Yeah. So for my safety, I feel like everyone kind of like already knows. So it's just going to be Tracy, Will, and Dean. The question is, who's going to really be the backup? And like nobody else at the safety core really did anything. I think Jalen Elliott was probably the best if I had to give a guess out of watching a little bit. But Elijah Holder didn't do anything. Amos didn't do anything. So it's probably going to have to be Elliott because I actually saw him make a couple nice tackles, and that's it.
Yeah, they got this position full. They got this 4 deep, 5.
Yeah. Safety's still the position of concern for me, but like, who really has that much talent difference who makes it? It's good to, of course, CJ Moore will make it because of his amazing special teams value as a gunner, and he was slightly better than Jalen Elliott, and yeah.
Oh, wow. They still got I don't know if this is updated. I don't know if this is coming direct from the team, but the Detroit Lions, this is got a Godwin. The Bookway is listed as a safety still.
He was a safety, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe he sneaks on the roster that way and we keep 5 running backs. What do you say, Mr. McCluskey?
No, I agree. I'm keeping 4 safeties. Like CJ Moore will stay on the field. Let's say he's a leader, special teams. He's important there. Will Harris, Tracy Walker, and oh, my mind's just gone. Who the 4th safety is? Dean Marlowe, because he offers that bit of veteran experience. So that's the 4 safeties. Cornerback, I will keep. You've got Jeffrey, you've got Armani, you've got Corn, you've got AJ Parker, you've got Ife, you've got Ife Melwanu, you've got Mike Ford. How many corners do we usually keep?
You usually keep
5, 6. We kept 6 last year, but only for Tony McGray.
Right, yeah, that's my 6 corners then. Like say Mike Ford and AJ Parker are the fringe players that'll make it. So yeah, 6 corners, 4 safeties.
Oh, McGray.
Oh man. Go ahead, Steve C, because I got something for you afterwards.
Yeah, I think safety is not that controversial. I don't think we've got really much choice. I think, it's Will Harris, Tracy Walker, Dean Marlowe, I think could be decent. It could be a decent pickup, and then CJ Moore. So I think those are the 4. I think I was always thinking when we were drafting, I think Trayvon Morig was still on the board, and we could have taken him in the second round.
We took Onwuzurike.
Yeah, and for me, this is the one where I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, but
that was the best player.
Should we have taken Morig, because that safety room just isn't jumping out at me. But then Levi could be a star, so who knows? We'll see.
Well,
go ahead.
And you got to. Okay, I'll say this: did the 2019 or even the 2018? We've had pressure. We had secondary players. We had Darius Slay, Quandre Diggs, Glover Quinn out as our secondary players. But what were we lacking during the final years of the Caldwell era? That's what it was. Pressure takes away time for players. If Kevin Strong got that sack, that's a perfect example. This is when Kevin Strong missed the sack on Sam Ehlinger on the throw that was a big bone. That one, Mike Ford never would have gotten beaten. But if Kevin Strong made that tackle, that's a sack, and that's no 60-yard bomb to some random third stringer. Pressure allows these players to play better. And that's why I'm much happier getting Levi Onwuzurike than, per se, Mohenrik. I maybe would have preferred getting like Paris 4 instead of Jefferson maybe in the 7th round, but I'm very satisfied with our draft.
Right. So pressure does help the cornerbacks. I really do. I really do think so. I can't even refute that. There are such things as coverage sacks. There are. It's not an absolute thing. It's no. I hate to talk in terms of absolution, but going back to what Steve said, I mean, right is right. Analytics. Then you're right. So, Steve said we should have took in Morag in the 2nd round, and with Onwuzurike, I said this on another live. Shout out to Micro Mike and Mark Orm, because they had to convince me Onwuzurike was the pick for us. And he's all right. I wanted Elijah Molden, and he went in the third round. Now, Elijah Molden went to Tennessee, and they kept him at nickel cornerback. He could also play safety. He is out of Washington College. And he was a dog, like 4 or 5 interceptions. He played physical. And guess what? I just seen a report on him like 2 days ago. He's had a terrific camp. Great game. Him and the other cornerback, Farley, have just shut people down. So now Tennessee have this aerial assault to go along with a dominant defensive line. And it just, to me, the Lions wet the bed on that, because I would have taken someone who can play safety. Morag was the guy. I didn't get that guy. I got Onwuzurike. Okay. Try to somehow trade one of these dead players that you had, dead as in can't do anything. Maybe Jalen Reeves, maybe something else, maybe next year's 3rd for this year's 3rd, and get a safety that you need, because these guys are not impressing me. Moore does not impress me. Elijah Holder, you're gone. I like Jalen Elliott. I like him because of their faux pas. I like him because of their mistakes. So he's not really much of an improvement there, but he is solid there. I say this: they're going to keep Harris, they're going to keep Walker. This is no brainer. Marlowe, I hate the guy to death. I think he can't play. He got beat. I just think he can't play. But they'll keep him. I say they keep Godwin. They keep him in that safety role, and they kind of manipulate the system there because he is a two-way player. They keep Bobby Price, and if they wanted to keep Jalen Elliott on special teams or practice squad, they can do so because Bobby Price can be a corner if you're not seeing anything there. He can be a corner and other things. So I do like that. Now, my biggest criticism of this secondary is they can't create coverage sacks. Melifonwu played phenomenal. I like Melifonwu, but I don't like Okudah. I want to get y'all thoughts on Okudah, the fake piranha, and yeah, look, man, I got insults for days, man. And so I was at training camp. I was like, I was with everything King. I was gonna say he had cut me off. I was like, oh. He's like, I'm looking at Okudah. I'm like, oh yeah, he looks a little small. He looks a little. He doesn't look dominant at all. And I know that's my hot take, but tell me what you guys think.
So first, when it comes to Jeffrey Okudah, I'm taking his rookie year with a grain of salt. We had one good pass rusher in Romeo Gore, and if there's no pressure and the cornerback has to stay out there for 6 seconds and he's injured, I'm even going to note this. Jeff Okudah said he didn't know how to do film in the NFL. Matt Patricia didn't teach him to do that. That's literally the type of head coach. Yeah, it was in an interview. Luke G talked about it. That shows you how bad of a coach he had. A coach who didn't talk to him. Players are talking about how coaches didn't communicate. So he had a head coach who didn't communicate. No pressure. And he was dealing with injuries and had a COVID-19 offseason where he didn't even really
teach him how to watch film?
They didn't teach him how to watch film.
Who was the DB coach last year?
I don't know. I think it might have been Corey Undland being mixed. Defensive coordinator and secondary, I think. I don't know.
That old guy, Pascaloni, he old as dirt. He used hieroglyphs to watch film. Damn. Damn. Go ahead. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Jeff Okudah. So I watched I was someone who wanted Derek Brown in the draft process. I was like the only Lions fan who wanted him. Either him or Tristan Wirfs. Those were my guy.
Wirfs was good too.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they didn't take either. But I watched every single snap of Jeff Okudah in 2019. Jeff Okudah was the type of player that he would get beat, but he would never get beat by the same thing twice. But I watched that happen a lot his rookie year. This preseason, I haven't seen that happen. I only saw him get beat for that one play, but then he had a pass deflection the next play. He started actually being consistent. I think he's 2 of 5 right now in targets, and he hasn't allowed a touchdown. And I think in total has 6 or 5 tackles. That's an improvement. Okudah is showing improvement. He was apparently good in camp. Granted, he wasn't facing Kenny Galladay anymore. That's an improvement, from my opinion, that you say don't drop Okudah off into the abyss because he's playing with all the reasons I just stated, and he's showing improvement.
Right. What's your take on Okudah, Mr. McCluskey? Because I'm okay. I'm malleable. I'm okay with like that. That to me is a fair analysis. Like, oh man, no one taught him how to watch film. God, go ahead.
Okudah, like his rookie year, has already been wiped from my memory. Like it's not worth recalling. Because, like I say, not a lot of things worked against him because what were going on. So I didn't take too much notice of it. I love Okudah, like say when everything is in front of him, but like say when he's like, if his lack of discipline, if his eyes are creeping inside, once the thing gets behind him, like the lack of closing speed, everything then just kind of slowly breaks down. He's a fantastic tackler when his eyes are up and he's looking straight forward, coming downhill. So I trust him to hopefully be able to press, play that strong man, say become the next hopeful Jalen Ramsey. He's going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. So too many people have been too quick to write him off, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of doubt for 2 or 3 years because that's how long it takes to mold an NFL cornerback. So I've still got a lot of hope in him. I've still got a lot of I think he's immensely talented. He's a great tackler. Like I say, he's immensely physical. Like I say, I think it's just this year it's going to be learning discipline, and I'm hoping that's what Aubrey Pleasant's going to teach him: technique and discipline. Like I say, and he's going to help to keep it all in rein. And I think this is probably the best place he can be right now, under the right coach as well.
Yeah, he doesn't play press man as well. He doesn't press at the line of scrimmage, and that is something I took away now that he actually does. Like, oh, makes sense. I did have a problem with him getting beat off. Oh boy. My take on Okudah is so if I don't want to be negative on this stream. You're not going to get me, Okudah. Anyway, Steve C, what do you think about Okudah?
Yeah, I think we have to look at Okudah that this is his rookie year. I think we just forget about last year. Last year, they had a guy called Steve Gregory coaching the defensive backs, who I think used to coach for Syracuse, but I mean, had no kind of like pedigree. You know, we've got Aubrey Pleasant, who everyone says is a head coach of the future, and we've got Aaron Glenn, who played the position. He's been coaching Marshawn Lattimore at the Saints for the last few years. And when you think about how bad the secondary was when he took over at the Saints and where he got it to, I mean, he absolutely transformed the defense in that franchise. So I think from the college tape and what analytics was saying is absolutely spot on. Like, we know he's got the skills. What he just doesn't have is he's shook. He doesn't have the temperament. He's totally seen his confidence be absolutely stamped in the dirt for 12 months. And he needs to rebuild. And I think with a good camp under his belt, and I mean, the other thing that we haven't mentioned is he had this groin injury all through last season, and they just didn't handle it properly. They should have just given him 6-8 weeks off to get healthy, but they kept trying to get him back on the field. If you're a corner with a groin injury, you cannot, you lose your burst. So that's why he kept getting burnt last year, and that's why his confidence is going to be at an all-time low. My problem with Okudah is we're expecting him to be CB1 because the plan was always for Dunbar to be the number one corner. I think Okudah, I'd be quite happy with him as CB2 this season and Amani at CB3. But because Dunbar's burnt, that's a burnout, now Okudah's CB1 and Amani's CB2, and that worries me. Because when you think about, he's going to be going up against Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams. Oof.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. I want to just plug you guys' channels. On that note, I want to plug you guys' channels. I want to say thank you for being here. You guys are great. It was a solid stream. I know I had some little issues. I hope y'all don't judge me on those little issues, those minor interruptions. Yeah,
we've got through a lot. We've got through a lot tonight.
Yeah, we did. I have like 10 other questions, but maybe we'll do this again. I hope to do it again because you guys are dope. One Pride Worldwide. I definitely want to bring the UK back here to Detroit for sure. So analytics, plug your channel, everything you do. I don't know if you do art or something, whatever you got, your Cash App, whatever. Plug your stuff.
All right. So, go to the Analytics Den, and you'll find all types of things, mostly based around analytics or stats. I don't do much film. I try to maybe show a bit of film in there. So my main thing is what my name suggests, analytics. I've got some great videos. If you got some videos that you guys maybe want me to suggest for you, it's got to be the Quintus Cephas is the most underrated player in our offense. That's a video I'm really proud of, and why the Lions are building a Super Bowl winning team. I'm not quite the world's biggest optimist, but I'm also not quite the biggest pessimist. So I consider myself in the middle. You'll find me in there. I consider you guys the Den in my name. I just consider myself the analytic, and you guys are the Den. So that's why I try to interact with you guys and give you guys in the comments and interact. So that's my channel.
Yeah. Ryan and Steve, you guys on the same type of podcast. So if y'all want to just plug one of y'all. Just take the lead on that and plug that.
Go on, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah. Like say, we're both on the same podcast. It's Roar of the Lions UK. Like say, so we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we Twitch, we YouTube at ROTL_UK. Like say, we're also got a Facebook group, Detroit Lions One Pride Worldwide. So we bring together all the people worldwide, like a large Facebook group. Like say, the US, the UK, Europe. Come join us there. Come interact with us on social media. If anyone wants to be on, like say, a guest, or feel free to tweet us. We'll answer questions. We'll shout out. We're live on a Monday and a Thursday. We break down and we preview game film. And one of the colleagues, me and Anne, we also do now a Wednesday show. We do a Wednesday show where we're also talking about college football as well. So we're now branching out and we're covering all sorts of football. So come feel free to join us and check out socials.
Yeah, and also hit me up on Twitter, 0dart40 on Twitter. Also, I write for NFL Scotland. I cover the NFC North, so hit the website NFL Scotland. And yeah, the Roar of the Lions is going to be really good this year because we've got 6 people that are just plenty of opinions. And yeah, doing the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be giving like plenty of coverage. So check it out. UK is here.
Yeah. I want to get you guys' thoughts for a second. I know analytics got to go, but one positive y'all take from last night's game. That was a good question.
Improvement. It has to be 100% improvement. We are seeing a team that's being much more fast. We saw a lot of pressure. We're seeing a lot of better players at just about everything. In my opinion, we've seen an improved O-line in most parts, at least the starting O-line. I think we saw improvement from the run game. We saw improvement from our defensive pressure. We saw improvements from our linebackers. And we're just seeing a coach that's doing a much better job. And hope. That's the message that I send for you guys.
Ryan McCluskey.
It's just in general preseason. I just love how many guys are getting touches of the ball. Like we're giving the running backs, everyone's been able to move the chains, positive plays, even if it's just 3-4 yards a carry. Like say, every running back is making plays. We're going to just have multiple guys. Like it's going to be a good offense under Anthony Lynn. I think we're going to move the ball consistently. So I'm just excited for that.
Yeah. Steve?
Yeah, 2 positives. Number 1, no serious injuries. I know Blair got banged up, but there was nothing too bad, and that's like an absolute must for preseason. And number 2, you know, we looked like a cohesive unit, and we were in the game, and it wasn't shambolic. We looked like we were out there playing football at a decent standard with some improvement. And for anyone that had the pleasure of watching the Buffalo Bills play the Chicago Bears in preseason, when Mitchell Trubisky, playing a second string for the Bills, absolutely torched his team, and the Bears looked an absolute mess. Like for apart from the last 5 minutes, which was garbage time anyway, where they scored a couple, but I think they were like about 35-0 down at one point, and it looked an absolute dumpster fire. So, you know, that's the positive for me. We look like a team that's coming through preseason and is going to be in decent shape when we hit San Francisco in week 1.
Right. Okay, that's closing thoughts. Shout out to you guys, the subscribers. Shout out to Tokyo Coney. Got a restaurant. I can't wait to see it. It looks like he's in Canada right now. Y'all see the comment. Love your show, blah, 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 about my show. More about him. I'm watching you guys with my friends in Canada. You shout out my restaurant, Tokyo. It's Tokyo Coney. So shout out to him. He's doing big things, man. I hope I can get a Coney because I'm hungry as hell. I love y'all. Hey, the UK, you said the Oregon region, right? You called it a different name though.
Cascade region.
Cascade region. Thank you guys for dealing with me, dealing with my bullshit. You know, this is the part of the job I got to get better at, the live streaming. But you guys are great, man, and I appreciate all your time and effort. So, good show. Like, comment, subscribe. Love y'all.